And we're live with Allison Smith. Hi, Allison. How are you doing today?
Hello. How are you?
Let's have a big round of applause for Allison.
Greetings from Canada. Whoa. Good to see everybody. Wow, this is amazing. This is crazy. I feel Amish. I feel like a cave woman.
No, you're good. Oh, you've got a nice background. You went to the trouble of putting up all those nice little paintings and everything.
Are they
That's
straight,
cool.
though? I just don't know. There we go. Okay. All right.
All right. The last time that I saw you, and James Bodie too, maybe, would have been Astrakhan. Last Astrakhan. Already go back to all the way to October.
That's right. December. That was fabulous, wasn't it? I thought it was a great location.
It was
Very
fun.
similar to the one that I'm used to.
Are you considering going all the way to Atlanta next year? I think it's...
Absolutely. Well, you know, I just got back from there. I was at the Atlanta Asterisk Users Group, which was a small but, you know, enthusiastic group. So, yeah, I love Atlanta. They treated me very well there. So, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, and in fact, as I told you earlier, I saw that actually go out on Google+, and I want to welcome you on behalf of everybody to Google+, which you are now the darling of, okay?
You dragged me kicking and screaming into it, but I'm good. It's fun.
I'm so glad you're here. We have Mr. James Bodie. I'll highlight him for a second. So James is dressed as a pirate.
Very well.
Arg. Okay. Who would like to start? I guess we could actually start with some questions. I know Andy mentioned that he was actually doing some of his own prompts. Maybe he had a question for you.
Oh.
Yeah. It's first of all, hello. I had to do a bunch of voice prompts yesterday, which are just for a minor thing, but I've never had to do them before, and I found the whole process quite interesting. I mean, what I was going to ask you really is, what processes do you have to go through before you get to the finished article?
So you're talking about strictly the processes vocally before you get a take that you're happy with?
Partially, yes, and also post-processing.
Oh, and processing. Okay, sure. Well, just from a creative point of view, I guess I self-monitor, so I will do several takes and probably end with what I feel is the cleanest, best take. For processing, especially with IVR prompts, I try not to process them too very much. So what I will do is boost the volume because there's a certain accepted level that you know, Digium prefers the asterisk prompts to be in. So I will boost it if it's below that level. But apart from that, I really don't do too much post-production or processing or equalizing, just because you just want to keep it without effects and keep it as clean as possible. So how many prompts did you do and how labor-intensive was it?
It wasn't that labour-intensive. It took me most of the afternoon, and it was about 10. This is for queue management stuff. So I found the whole thing interesting. I mean, the first thing I would note is that you absolutely have to script it, because you will make a mistake time after time.
Oh, you know what? Even if people have me record a string of numbers, like a number sequence in an IVR, I will bring the script into the booth and actually look at the numbers 1, 2, 3. Like, I have to work with the script. So yes, it's very, very important to script everything out, for sure.
Okay. No, it's interesting. I did much the same. I took the prompts and increased the levels a little. I actually bass boosted them a little as well. But aside from that, left them pretty much as they were.
That's perfect. That's exactly what you should do. And you know, you're taking out the breathing noises, I presume. You have to edit those out, and any sort of mouth events, as we call them, any kind of saliva noises, they do come up, so you have to edit all of those out. And I'm keeping all of mine in a master file.
I have a picture of you with a large bottle of saliva there now.
No. No, and you know, the thing that interests me the most is that people will say that the prompts that I did, you know, 5 years ago dovetail really well with the stuff that I do today, which is always what you're after. You don't want to do any great deviation in energy, and you know, I'm a human, so it's really hard to keep it level, but many, many people say that they're quite happy with the way that today's files fit with previous files, so I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, yeah. Well, wow. Are you trying to take business away from me, Bob? Recording? You can send them over to me.
No, not at all. This is just for one customer for one particular IVR. That's all.
Yes. Just giving you rough time.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for the answer. That's interesting.
Okay, I guess we better find out from Bob where that check is. Somebody's bringing in a little bit of noise. I know Bob is just unmuting himself because he knows he's got to mute, but someone's got a little bit of noise coming in.
I think it's Paul.
Could everybody be sure you mute if you're not speaking? And Bob, you did have a comment or question, did you not? Or did you just want to say?
Well, I was going to sort of dovetail on that. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, excellent.
Yeah, so along with I hate recording my own prompts, and certainly as we're developing stuff, right, I usually end up filling in and doing the prompts quickly and with the promise that we're going to send them off to Allison afterwards. But it is just such a pain to edit out speaking noises and hold your breath correctly and breathe properly. I get dizzy on the real long prompts, even if I scripted them and planned out my breathing. So it's always a miracle to me when I get a fresh set of prompts from Allison and listen to them, because I know I just can't control my breath that well.
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, it brings up a good point. I always urge people to read their prompts out loud before they send it to the voice talent, because prompts look very, very different on the written page as opposed to hearing it out loud. So if you were just to, lock yourself in your office so that people won't think you're a crazy person chatting to yourself, and just read your prompts out loud, you would probably be able to catch things like, wow, that's an incredibly long sentence that probably no ordinary human could read. So yeah, it's a good thing to hear your prompts kind of on their feet first before you send them to your voice talent.
And James Bodie is next.
Oh.
Yeah, hello, Alice. Hello again.
Hola, Senor Bodie.
Hola, ¿qué pasa? Yeah, something I've never heard you describe is the story of how you got started in voice recording. So,
well,
would you like to tell us? Share with us.
Boxing donkeys in Mexico, and Mark Spencer discovered me. No, that was the story that was kind of going around for a while there. I have a degree in acting from the University of Calgary, which is incredibly marketable and usable. Not. So I started doing radio commercials as a way of sort of supplementing the acting income. And long story short, it just sort of took over as my mainstay. I started voicing prompts for our local telephone company here in Alberta called TELUS. And I was their voice of mobility for a number of years. And then, one day a couple of guys from Digium, who are actually no longer there, sent me some scripts to voice, and it was fun to do, but I didn't really think too much about it. I just sort of did it. And it turned out to be this whole incredible thing that really, really put me on the map with IVR. I do a lot of other clients. Digium is not my only client, but they really, really put me on the map for being a telephone voice. So, hope that answers your question.
Yeah, well, you probably know why I asked, because I've got a really useful, dramatic, operatic daughter who is
yes, you mentioned her, yes.
Continuing to evolve, and believe me, every day is a drama. But she has a very, very good voice. So I'm just thinking of things that she can do rather than working in bars and supermarkets that make use of her talents.
Absolutely. Well, I don't really know what the trend is in the UK, but in North America, the trend for broadcast is for very, very real sounding people. So she has kind of a unique timbre to her voice. It could be to her advantage. Yeah. She could probably take a few voiceover workshops and then take a demo around to various studios and see if her sound is something that, they're looking for.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that there's so many different flavors of voice recording now you can do. So there's sort of narration you can do and
yes.
all that sort of stuff as well, which perhaps people weren't doing, I don't know, 10 years ago, before we who had all this multimedia stuff.
Yeah, gaming voices. That's a huge area that I don't actually...
Gaming voices.
Yeah, get into.
Pirate hat coming back on again. That's it.
Yeah, it requires a lot of versatility. Oh, there we are. Yes, the pirate voice. You'd be perfect. But yeah, I mean, that's a whole area that they're always looking for, especially younger sounding females that have kind of like a gravelly voice. So, you know, that might be an area she could focus on.
Gravelly voice is one that she doesn't do, but
I see.
I think her other ambition is to be Doctor Who's assistant, because she can scream, and she's got legs, and she can run, and she does lovely death as well.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah,
She sounds like a full package.
Yeah. I'm marketing hard, but anyway. But
Yeah.
And the other thing is, of course, you don't do British English, do you?
Actually, I do. Yeah. I get a request to do it probably once every few weeks, and people are fairly happy with it. With that said, it's usually American clients that kind of want a classy sound, so they'll say things like, "Can you do a British accent to really class up our product?" So,
but you sound like Dick Van Dyke, don't you? Core blind. Up the apples and pears.
That's right.
No. You do a very good you do a very good Queen, don't you, sort of thing.
That's right. Well, I tried not to venture into Coronation Street because that's almost never called for. You know, my Hilda Ogden accent. You know, right, Chuck. You know.
Hey up my duck, yeah.
Hey up.
Lovely.
Yes.
Black
moving over into the European section here, Maxim has a question.
Yeah, just real quick. I mean, I come across your voice once in a while, unexpected. Do you come across your own voice, and how does that feel?
You know what I do? It happens quite often. I actually checked into a hotel. I think it was actually in Dallas when Astracon was there a few years ago, and I ordered a hotel wake-up call, and it was me waking me up.
That's great.
It was extremely strange, yes. And the latest story that happened was my husband is a big fan of the BlackBerry. Don't ask me why. He's kind of resisted the whole iPhone thing. So he downloaded the program for BlackBerry. Oh, hello. He downloaded the workout program called Endomondo. And, you know, it's kind of like a personal coach, and he's very excited about it. So the first time he took it to the gym, he came home, and he kind of gave me a look like I'd done something wrong. And I said, you know, what's going on? And he said, "Guess who's the voice of Endomondo?" And it was me. They used the text-to-speech voice. So he sort of chose to see that as I was nagging him at the gym, you know.
Funny, thank you.
Maybe your son has a question, Maxim.
Yeah, who's this special guest we have here?
Well, you did ask who that is. Can I ask her something?
The duck
Hello.
face.
Oh!
I think he did the duck face.
I think he did.
Jerry?
Hey, Allison.
Hello, Jerry.
How are you doing?
Really good.
I'll represent the geekier side of this crew. I'm really interested in what gear you use to do all your voiceover work.
Oh, absolutely. Well, for years I was using the Rode Broadcaster microphone. I was quite attached to it, and then somebody talked me into using the AKG. What is the serial number or the style number? I can't remember. Anyhow, it's turned out to be kind of my mic of choice. It's as they describe it in their literature, it's a good ladies' mic because it gates out the sibilant S's that we're known for. So I use that. That gets patched into it's sort of a sound mixer program put out by NCH, which is called the EMU sound card, which truthfully has way too many bells and whistles. It's it's got so many effects, and really, especially for telephone recording, you don't need to sound like you're in a stalactite cave or any of these other effects. And so for sound editing programs, I sort of vacillate between a bunch of them, but the one that I keep going back to is WavePad, again by NCH. I don't know, I just find it to be easier to use. It's kind of a prosumer model. It's not Pro Tools or anything complicated like that. There are a lot of voiceover people that run Pro Tools. I just find it's way, way too much for what I need. So, yeah, the gear is not complicated, nor does it have to be.
Yeah, it's that and excessively expensive when they want to upgrade.
Well, yeah, exactly.
On Pro Tools.
A colleague of mine in Nanaimo, BC, I was on a conference call with her, and I said, so wow, you run Pro Tools. She said, I don't touch the thing. Her husband is her sound engineer, and he does all of the actual controlling of stuff. She's just the talent. So, yes.
Anyone on the ZipDX conference bridge with a question, by the way? You won't be seen, but you will be heard. A couple of Digium or former Digium guys. Paul wants to know, Cubicle. The question would be, how did Allison get involved with I've never known, is it Kepstrel or Sepstrel?
It's Kepstrel, yeah.
What was the process of slicing and dicing your voice into the TTS stuff they offer? Good question, actually.
That is a great question. Yeah, so Kepstrel approached me probably about 5 years ago to start getting involved with recording what they wanted to be probably their biggest text-to-speech engine. They wanted to devise one that was, you know, probably several versions ahead of what they'd already done. So they actually sent me, I describe it as like a moderate telephone book size script. And basically the script was a bunch of nonsensical sentences. Things like, Janine wore her blue dress on Thursday. And so from that phrase, they feed it into a speech utility, which breaks it into phonemes and subphonemes, and it's an amazing process. But the idea was the more material they could get me to read, the greater the hit rate of possible choices of sounds. So as far as I know, it is their #1 selling text-to-speech utility, which is great. And they are about to launch a brand new version of it. So in fact, I think the press release went out today, so don't think I'm blowing the surprise. So yes, there's going to be new improvements, and it's pretty exciting. Of course, it's extremely strange because you can pretty much type in anything and make me say anything you want. So.
I was neglecting Quell's question. He asked it a while ago, and I forgot to ask you because he's not on the call. Will you do? He's got a proposition for you. Will you do video IVRs? That's a great question too, and I'm sorry I forgot it, Quell, because it's true. Well, he can't hear me. He's not on the call. But that's a good point. I mean, I don't even know what that is. I know what it is, but is that even done? And have you done any? And will you do some?
I have not done, and I would be more than happy to do that if somebody wants to spearhead that project. In fact, I think Ole Johansson did suggest the idea a while back, but it kind of died on the vine. So if this individual is volunteering, hey, I'd be more than willing.
And I assume what that actually is it's like a regular IVR, but it's for video. So it's like, hi, you've reached such and such, or would you like to? I don't know.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but it's a charming young woman such as yourself, who is on the screen, and you are directing the traffic.
Special filters on there. I can wear my tiara, you know.
There you go.
And I just like to know, I don't typically always dress in asterisk orange. I just happen to be wearing it today.
I know, and that's just fantastic.
So I could wear that for the video calls as well. Yes.
There you go. Anybody else have any questions? And I'm looking over at IRC. Yeah, as he says, as popular as video phones are getting, I could see that becoming useful in the near future. It's true. I mean, we live in that world now. See, yeah. I dragged you on here for a reason. It's because this is the future. The future is now.
Yes.
Speaking of future, I asked you before, and I think there's no huge thing coming up, but anything interesting that you want to tell people other than Atlanta next October? What's between now and then?
Yes. Apart from AstroCon in Atlanta, so I'm excited about that. The other thing that I'm quite excited about is the Allison On Demand project, which I'm not sure people really know about. It's basically what it is it's a database of proper names, first and last names, that I actually read for a medical transcription company. So this would be used in auto dialers for medical calling. It would call people by name to inform them that they have an appointment coming up, which is kind of neat. So it's 350,000 plus names that I voiced. It's yeah, it took the better part of a year to do, and it was kind of labor intensive, but it's done and it's available for sale. People can check it out at AllisonOnDemand.com.
How many takes did you need for those?
Yeah.
350,001.
Sorry?
He said, how many takes did you need for those? I'm sorry, I spoke over you. Go ahead.
You know what, actually, they built a software program and sent it on a laptop up to me. And so this thing just basically spit out a great big name on the screen, one name after the other. It wasn't alphabetized, thank God, because I think I probably would have gone a little loopy going, oh, I'm only halfway through the C's. Yeah, yeah. So there were some names that I mispronounced. There were some that were incredibly strange. Cupcake, pine cone was another one. It's kind of crazy. So truthfully, I wouldn't do too many redos on those unless I was pretty sure I had botched it up quite seriously. So it was just a matter of voicing and then hitting the bar and going to the next name and just trying to keep my sanity, basically.
Who else has a question for Allison? Well, we've got her here in front of us, trapped. Come on, guys, I'm depending on you because I'm doing some housekeeping here while we're talking. We can't keep her forever.
You mean light dusting, or?
Exactly, exactly.
So how long until you replace Siri, Allison?
Oh,
right.
God. You know, I think Siri's got that kind of locked in. I would love to. So if anyone has a lead of how to get in there.
What else?
What else?
I don't think it would be a replacement, an equal replacement either. I think that you'd be obviously way, way better.
Oh, bless your heart. That's so nice.
Okay, now that everything's tweeted out, we're probably done. Because I'm sure you have things you got to do. But we are going to do this again, he said. Right?
Okay. Great.
Okay, any last minute from anybody? Because we don't want to keep it for too long. Go ahead,
I got one. Just real fast. I mean, what service offerings can you do, Allison, for people that have IVRs or would love to have your voiceover work? How do they find out more info?
Well, Jerry, that's a great question. My website is theIVRvoice.com. You can also visit the*voice.com, where you can actually download the stock prompts for Asterisk free. You just have to register. So if you need a spare set or need to distribute them, they're there. Other things that I offer, sort of getting into consulting as well, because a lot of people are kind of mystified as to how to draft up telephone prompts. They're a little daunted by the task of coming up with scripts. So I'm actually starting to work with people from the ground up, brainstorming about what sort of tone and mood and feel that they're trying to establish with their prompts and helping them to come up with scripts. Before, I was a little resistant to get so-called sidetracked into writing, but I realized that I can probably offer a good deal of guidance and hopefully try to get people to not keep making the same mistakes in telephone systems. Things like driving directions probably don't need to be there anymore with GPS being so prevalent. People having too many options, people using the opening prompt as kind of a commercial to overload the customer with too much information, just stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully I can be a little bit of an asset in advising how to build your script from the ground up. So, and of course, I offer customized recordings because that's what I do.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we'll bring this thing to a close. We're talking about ivrvoice.com, is that right? For the main site?
Yes.
Allison, delightful to have you, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Let's do this again really soon, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll end the broadcast, and we'll say goodbye in just a moment.
Thank you. Bye.